their physician for information on getting firmware updates in the device, which is supposed to secure them against the hacking vulnerability. The hacking of medical devices like pacemakers is a growing concern for the cybersecurity and medical community. In 2012, the Government Accountability Office advised the FDA to expand its focus on these threats. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a Texas law restricting a second trimester abortion technique, initially due to take effect on Friday, was put on hold for 2 weeks pending a court hearing on a challenge to the legislation, according to a federal judge in Austin, Texas. U.S. District Judge Lee Yeckel on Thursday granted a temporary restraining order against the ban on a procedure known as dilation and evacuation, requested by Planned Parenthood and other organizations challenging the law. Abortion opponents call the procedure fetal dismemberment, and it would be barred under the law passed by the Republican-controlled legislature and signed by Republican Governor Greg Abbott. Women's health groups say that the Texas abortion law is already so restrictive that it forces more women to seek the procedure during the second trimester instead of earlier. They argue that dilation and evacuation is the safest procedure and is performed before the fetus is viable. Under Yeckel's ruling, the law was stopped from going into effect until a hearing set for September 14th in U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas in Austin. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
As Sao Paulo struggled to dig out after last week's devastating earthquake,
I'm just praying. I'm just praying and helping.
One group was left with no one to care for them.
There is nowhere for these homeless dogs to go. There is no food to give them. There is no clean water. These dogs are going to starve to death.
I have to do the humane thing. I have to put these dogs down.
O'Brady Shaw is the only journalist compassionate enough to do what has to be done.
Put down 50 or 60 dogs today. I didn't want to.
Let me help you!
But their fate would have been much worse if I hadn't done it.
It's better this way.
O'Brady Shaw goes where other reporters won't and does the jobs other reporters can't.
I'm so sorry.
Gut Check with O'Brady Shaw. Live from Sao Paulo. Tomorrow night, only on the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450 free, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris, and Darryl.
So, Chris, you brought in a story here that appears to be relatively fresh. It was published yesterday at a university hospital. The story actually coming from various different sources. Deseret News, New York Daily News, is at a Salt Lake City where a nurse is claiming she was assaulted. She definitely was.
Yes, definitely. There's no question about it.
By a Salt Lake City police detective, for refusing his order to draw blood from an unconscious patient. Alex Wubbles was working as a charge nurse at the University of Utah Hospital when police detective Jeff Payne demanded a blood sample from a truck driver who was hospitalized after a car crash on July 26th. When she refused, citing the hospital's policy, Payne grabbed her arms, marched her out of the hospital, and handcuffed her in a disturbing body camera video released during a press conference on Thursday. And apparently there are a couple of different body camera videos, which we literally just determined moments before we went on the air. So you had brought this one in, Chris, to the show, which is of the other officers. So there's at least a couple officers that have been called into this situation. Mm-hmm. And so you can see Jeff Payne, the officer who makes the arrest, in the video you brought in. There's also a video from Jeff Payne's body camera as well. So there are at least two different body camera videos here. And I can't play the audio of all the conversation that comes beforehand because it's just too tinny. It's hard to, it's going to be hard to play that. But playing her screaming, when she's attacked,
the main part was and that was the understatement. I felt like that was like an understatement of the year kind of deal when the way they phrased that in the article. She was viciously attacked.
Completely unnecessarily. I mean, this cop
she made no movement.
Right. She's a nurse in her nurse's gown with her ID tag on at work, and she's on the phone here. You said it's with her supervisor.
Yeah, that's what this article said.
So she's on a phone talking to the supervisor, holding the phone out, and
she didn't even respond. It was the supervisor that he was responding to, but he's taking it out on her.
The supervisor says at one point, "Look, officer, you're making a mistake here." Sorry about that. One of those wonderful little autoplay features here on the internet. Tells the cop, "You're making a mistake." In fact, the supervisor says that, and it's right after that the cop's just like, "That's it, I've had enough," and just moves in for this lady, and she kind of steps away.
This was something to where she was trying to prevent the cop from drawing blood from a patient.
Correct, an unconscious patient, and there's certain specifications as far as when they're allowed to draw blood from a patient. I don't know if the article here goes into the details on what those specs are, but they mention the man on the phone mentions them, or she mentions them, one or the other.
Right. I just think it's important to note that it wasn't just police officer walks into a hospital and assaults some kind of nurse. He's trying to do something. She's saying, "You're not allowed to do that, Mr. Officer Guy. Right. Here, my supervisor's on the phone. He's telling you the same thing." So, she's protecting a patient.
She was reading out, or he was reading like a policy or something in there about like when they're allowed to do that. And it was like with a warrant, they're allowed to do it, I think, with consent of the patient, which the patient couldn't consent.
Right, and, when the patient's unconscious, there's no consent.
Right, exactly. And they kept saying they don't have a warrant. So
right, so she is trying to protect a patient.
That's correct. She's just trying to do her job. In this case, is the old "I'm just doing my job" thing. She's trying to do her job, and that is to, this officer is not asking her to do something that is within her legal purview to commit, and he targets her for it.
Definitely
brutally.
Something that is unethical, if not immoral.
Both
to
unethical,
draw blood from an unconscious patient.
Both unethical, immoral, and probably illegal for them to hand that over.
And you used to actually work as hospital security at some place.
Correct.
Past, right? Now, since it's not hospital security, they are there, but the officers are the ones who are doing the this dirty work here. We're going to get into it here. I'll play the actual clip from this situation. We'll see if we can actually make out what's being said. Like I said, I didn't have any time to prep this in advance to run it through any kind of audio processing or anything like that. So I'm just going to test it out here.
So I printed this off. This is what I was told to print off.
So she's showing a piece of paper to the officer as she's dialing.
Brad, I'm just putting on speaker so you can. So I have this. It says obtaining blood samples for police enforcement from patients suspected to be under the influence. Okay, this was something that you guys agreed to with this hospital. The three things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest, and neither of those things. The patient can't consent.
Electronic warrant, patient under arrest. Or the patient consenting.
Yeah.
And they don't have any of those things.
Yep.
So she's denying it, denying them here and trying to explain, look, here's our agreement with you. Like, this is what the hospital has a policy that we came to with, you police people, and this is what the agreement says. We are only to do blood draws under these three specific circumstances. Here, officer, here are your rules. Here they are. She shows them to him. She explains them to him. She has her supervisor on the line listening to this entire thing.
He told me repeatedly that he doesn't have a warrant and the patient is not under arrest. So
don't have a warrant and he's not under arrest.
Right. It was some sort of an accident, apparently, according to the story at New York Daily News. The truck driver in question was, unconscious after a car crash. So the cop suspects that he might have been under the influence, and that's what the cop is looking to find out here. We actually have Cindy on the line already with comments on the story in Indiana. Go ahead, Cindy.
Hi, guys.
Hey there.
I'm a nurse in South Bend, Indiana,
Hi.
and I really have a problem with what's going on in Utah.
Tell me more.
Well, I'll tell you. There's all kinds of times when the cops will ask us to do this or do that. I personally think the fact that she did what was ethical, the patient was unconscious. He could not consent to the blood draw. He was not under arrest. There was no warrant. She had no way that she could have drawn the blood from that patient without committing assault and battery.
Then the very same cops might just arrest her for that reason at that point. There was no way out of this situation for this lady.
Exactly. But you know what? I would have done exactly the same thing.
You mean you would have refused? You would have explained to the cop and then, refused? Darn
right. Same as I would have done for those people in New Mexico all those months ago for doing the enemas, the colonoscopy,
those stories were absolutely horrendous. Where there
Sounds
was
familiar.
one guy in particular that over the course of 8 hours had several colonoscopies, cavity searches, enemas, and they kept finding nothing. No drugs, all right, well, give him more charcoal. Give him another enema. Shove the colonoscope up his butt again.
Nurses, we have to advocate for our patients. And if there's no consent, then it's battery if we touch them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I apologize. Apparently, due to some issues here at the studio, technical issues, that audio did not go out across our radio station. So my bad on that one. We'll see if we can get this back on track here. Cindy, if you want, you can continue to comment here. As a fellow nurse, you say you would have done the exact same thing as the lady in this situation. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves, and you can bring up whatever you want. This is Free Talk Live. There's more on the way.
If you're an unincorporated business owner, it's too late for you. That is, if you've already been sued and lost your home, your car, and your personal life savings. But if you haven't been sued yet, there is still time to incorporate and protect your personal assets. And the first step is just a phone call away, because Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation toolkit to all business owners, including exclusive information on how to start and grow your business. For your free incorporation toolkit, call now 1-800-940-9829. Incorporation is the shield that protects your personal assets. Without it, you could lose everything. That's why at Incorporate.com, they just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. They don't provide legal or financial advice. If someone sues tomorrow, will you lose everything? Don't wait until it's too late. Call now for your free incorporation toolkit. Hurry, they're still giving them away for free at 1-800-940-9829. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
You haven't experienced yogurt until you've tried a Mossy, embodying health and flavor in a true whole milk, green-fed dairy beverage. Every sip pays homage to our old world cows and the ancient culturing methods their milk benefits from. With over 30 probiotics, a Mossy's undeniably nutritious, refined, cultured sensation bolsters your health and awakens your passion for dairy. A Mossy's so good, and you need to try it. Contact your Youngevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Are you retired or facing retirement and you're afraid your income is going to be less than you'd like? I'm Pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and I want to show you a low-cost way to create your own business working around your current schedule, creating extra income that will last for years to come by joining Dr. Wallach's crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com, or call 866-257-3105 for a recorded message.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us here. The situation with the nurse out in Utah was just brought to our attention. Chris, you found the story over at New York Daily News, Deseret News, all over the place. We're going to play some of the audio here from the most relevant portion of the video. I apologize to those listening on the radio in the last segment. We had some technical difficulties. What you missed when we were playing the audio was the nurse in this hospital going over reasons why legally she cannot draw blood from a man that the police had brought to her. Basically, there was some sort of car accident. One of the people involved was a truck driver, and the cops were demanding that the nurse do a blood draw on an unconscious man. And who was not under arrest, and they had no warrant for. And since he was unconscious, he couldn't consent. So those were the 3 reasons why. If they had a warrant, she would do it. And if he consented, she would do it, and if he were officially under arrest, then she would do it. But she says, look, we have an agreement with you guys. The hospital has an agreement that these are the 3 circumstances, and the only 3 circumstances under which we are allowed to conduct a blood draw. And so she's calmly explaining it to the officer as much as she can. Does look a little nervous, understandably. She's got at least 2 cops that are standing there looking, probably intimidating.
Yeah, for sure.
One of them, for sure, is a kind of hulking man who ultimately ends up arresting the nurse. We'll tell you more about it, and we'll also take your calls and thoughts. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're going to get right back into your phone calls and thoughts. Do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com, though. So if you've been thinking about Bitcoin, wanting to learn more about it, then Bitcoin.com is a great destination to accomplish that. You can get the latest news about Bitcoin in the Bitcoin universe. You can also get the basics on what Bitcoin is, and you can join the Bitcoin mining pool. Or pools, because there's one for Bitcoin and there's another one for the new Bitcoin Cash that you can join over at pool.bitcoin.com. Again, that's pool.bitcoin.com. Cindy is a nurse in Indiana. She called in about this subject, and you say you can completely relate to this, and this lady did the right thing by refusing the police order. Isn't that right, Cindy?
Yes, she did. I would have done the same thing too, and probably would have been arrested as a result, because what they were asking her to do was unethical. Patient was unconscious. There was no warrant. He was not under arrest. There was no reason to draw that blood, and the man was a victim in the crash.
Well, again, the police probably believed that he was under the influence of something and wanted to find out and needed the woman to do their bidding, and they went ahead and arrested her over it. And ultimately, according to the article at New York Daily News, cut her loose 20 minutes later with no charges. So maybe they talked to their attorney, and he said, uh-oh, guys, you need to let her go right now.
Yeah.
And I hope she ends up owning them.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Unfortunately, she'll just end up owning the taxpayers if they end up finding the police were responsible for this.
They're not going to do anything against the police.
The officers themselves will likely not suffer any kind of consequences as a result. If there is a settlement, it may come from the police department coffers or the city tax coffers, but it's not going to come out of the paycheck of the officers.
The city's insurance might wind up making some kind of payment.
Yep.
And then the insurance will go up.
Their insurance rates will go up, which the taxpayers are paying for.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cindy. I'm sorry.
That is very much unfortunately true, although I understand that this police officer in question has now just been suspended from the blood draw unit. So he's no longer able to draw blood, but he's still able to function as a police officer. And that's just screwed up.
Unbelievable.
Well, I do remember...
His name is Detective Payne,
of
which
course.
seems to be very fitting here.
You know, I do remember years ago there was news about the state police in Utah being authorized to do roadside blood draws, and that they were actually training their police officers. They were sending them to phlebotomy training, which is the art of drawing blood, I suppose.
Yes.
And that was a scary story, because the idea that some cop is going to be drawing blood from you on the side of the road is, I think, an incredibly kind of intimidating police state situation. So
let me get this straight. They legalized assault of citizens who have committed no crime and are not even suspected of a crime?
Well, presumably you would be suspected of a crime if the officer was going to be drawing blood from you, but I don't...
Right. So there are a couple of states that have things along these lines, and generally it's... And you guys know a little bit about this, the DUI checkpoints, because there's those things happening this weekend nearby here, actually.
Tonight and tomorrow.
So in some places, if the person refuses to blow in the little tube, that's considered some kind of, like evidence of suspicion of something, and so then they can get the warrant to draw the blood. So you refuse to blow in the tube, that gives us probable cause to draw your blood. So the suspected offense is you're driving under the influence.
If I refuse, then, and I am...
Some states don't suspend your license for 6 months if you refuse, whether you're drunk or not.
See, this is just what blows my mind. So if I refuse on principal grounds, that somehow is evidence against me of having been drunk. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
It is what they would consider to be probable cause.
How is that probable cause? It's not. There's so many people who would object on principles.
Sorry, say again, Cindy. You said it's not easy.
Phlebotomy is no easy trick. You've either got the touch or you don't. And if you don't have the touch for it, you're going to harm somebody by sticking them multiple times, and that's ugly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cindy, thanks for the call. Thanks for the expertise tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733.
But, Chris, to answer your question of how is it probable cause, I don't know. I'm not... the lawyer that wound up writing the statute or the lobbyist in these states that argued for. I'm just telling you, the way it's written is it is legally considered probable cause if you refuse their test.
Well, so they're going to say that you agreed to this when you signed up for the driver's license, that it's in the terms. You consented to give us
That's the argument. I know that's the argument, but I'm still not quite sure I follow how that constitutes probable cause.
So how is that...
They're not going to say it's probable cause. They would just argue that you agreed to it, and if you aren't doing it, then they're going to come.
Well, what about somebody?
Privileges.
What about somebody that got their driver's license issued 4 years ago? The law changed 2 years ago. Well, that supposed contract changed after I got my license.
Well, what about a different state or a different country? I mean,
well, your physical presence here is the consent.
That's what they'll say.
Where was this? Was there a sign that said this? I mean, at what point?
Social contract.
The social contract is whatever they say goes.
Right.
That's the rules. And they can change the rules at any time without having to give you any kind of notice whatsoever, because you're supposed to read all the DMV.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Right.
Unless you're a bureaucrat, in which case ignorance of the law is a complete excuse as long as you're acting in good faith.
And they have no obligation to protect you.
That's all true. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We'll play the segment of the actual arrest here in moments. You can share your thoughts with us and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username here is lrn.fm. In the studio with you tonight, you've got Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
We're going to play this audio here. I actually did finally take the time to boost some of the levels on this because it's very quiet and then gets loud when the nurse starts screaming as she's being attacked and manhandled by, and completely unnecessarily, by the way, by this police officer. I mean, this cop treats her like she's some kind of street thug that just took a swing at him.
Yeah, he like lunges at her without even explaining that like she's under arrest or anything, and
well, it's pretty obvious that he's gonna do something awful, like arrest her.
Oh yeah, awful, but not necessarily. We don't necessarily know that he's arresting her. She wouldn't have known that he's arresting her. All she knows is he's lunging at her in a violent manner.
Yep. And she's pretty shocked by it.
She's moving out of the way. She doesn't want to be hit.
We'll play that here in moments. This is a nurse who is refusing to do a blood draw on an unconscious...
Alex Woobles.
Correct, on an unconscious man. But let's go to more of your calls and thoughts. First, also, I do want to let you know about Dash. It's a way to build a better financial system for everyone. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform that is designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. So it's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low and transactions are fast, can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. You can find out more at dash.org, and there's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go check out dash.org and find out why. Let's go to more of your calls and thoughts. Bill is in California. You're on Free Talk Live. Bill, where are you calling from in California tonight?
Lake Isabella. It's about 55 miles east of Bakersfield in the Sierra Nevada.
Excellent. So you're listening to KVLI. Go ahead, Bill.
Good deal. First of all, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to talk about like the consent issue. I've lived in about 17 different states and had different driver's licenses in different states. And every single state I've ever had a license in, one of the requirements to be able to obtain a license is a law called implied consent, meaning that if you ever got pulled over for, suspected of being drunk driving, that it's basically that you consent to any kind of a breathalyzer test or a blood test. Okay, that automatically just by being pulled over. Now, as far as probable cause go, I've had a couple DUIs. I mean, I've been driving for a long time, but back in the day, I had a couple DUIs. You go to court, and then the police officers in court. Just the mere fact that he smells alcohol is considered probable cause.
Which they can say that anytime they want.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is in court. I mean, they're going to believe. If it's you against the police officer, they're going to believe the police officer. Now, as far as those checkpoints, those are unconstitutional. Okay, because there is no. The only way the police can pull you over and have probable cause is they have to see you violating some kind of a traffic law, like not putting a blinker on or something like that. They just can't pick you out on the road and give you a breathalyzer.
Yeah, there's changes. There's been recent changes, rulings that contradict that. I mean, that say otherwise. I agree with you.
Constitutional?
Yeah. Darryl, I don't know if you know more about that, but.
It's been challenged in court, yeah.
Not specifically, but I
know they
believe
exist.
I've read something to where courts have consistently, sadly, consistently upheld as constitutional because safety.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
Now, I don't agree with how these police officers manhandled a nurse, obviously, but this is one of the states I lived in was Utah. Okay, they're notoriously anti-alcohol in that state.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been more police officers, and that could have crept into it. Not that that's an excuse for them or anything like that.
No, but it's an explanation.
But they do have an implied, because I had a Utah driver's license, and that's a state where to get the license, there's the implied consent law that if you are pulled over, that you have to give a breathalyzer test. In California, if you don't give a breathalyzer test, if you refuse the breath test, you automatically get your license suspended for a year, automatically. And that doesn't start to begin to even if you're convicted.
Are there states that don't have this implied consent?
I guarantee you Utah has it. If there's one state in the union that has it, it's Utah.
No, I know there's more than one. I've definitely heard of this on multiple occasions.
And I think it depends on how you're defining, quote unquote, this implied consent, because there are some states that will not automatically suspend your driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's what you mean,
I know about
or
New
if
Jersey.
you're saying that they're using.
Hold on, too many people talking at once here. Hold on, guys. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if by implied consent you're saying your lack of or your refusal to take a breathalyzer is automatically considered reasonable or probable cause to do something else.
No, all it is that by implied consent means that if you are pulled over or if you're suspected of being under the influence of drugs or alcohol, that you automatically consent to being tested either through a breathalyzer, and if you refuse that, then by a blood test.
Right,
and
but not every state does blood
that.
tests. So that's why I said, it depends on how Ian is defining the implied consent.
I'm not defining it. It was Bill who called in about it, but that was the term that he used to describe the thing I was trying to describe earlier.
Some form of it, right?
Where the state will argue that by getting the driver's license or being in the state, as you pointed out, that you must do the thing they say you must do, or else they'll suspend your license or hit you with another charge or whatever. There's probably different penalties for it in different
And not
places.
every state automatically suspends the license, and not every state does the blood draws.
Yeah, I know a little bit about New Jersey, and I don't drink, by the way. But in New Jersey, I looked into this once, and because I was pulled over for, I guess, for suspected for being drunk or something, and they made me walk a line and everything else, and I was really annoyed. Like, I didn't want to consent, but I also didn't want to lose my license.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I looked into it afterward.
There?
I'm not entirely sure if you lose your license automatically, but basically something to the effect if you don't. Yeah, there is some sort of implied consent in New Jersey. But I looked into it more, and it took me a long time to figure out whether or not I had to, walk the line, or if I could refuse. Because maybe you can refuse to walk the line, but you can't refuse a breathalyzer, right? So there's all these little gotchas. And what's interesting in New Jersey is you can actually refuse the roadside breathalyzer and not be guilty of not consenting or something to that effect.
Okay.
And basically what happens is at that point they have to take you to the station and do what's called a chemical breathalyzer, which is more accurate. At that point, if you refuse, then it's something to the effect of you lose your license or something along those lines.
So what happened with you?
About the pre-alcohol screening test. That's what that little handheld thing. That's the pre-alcohol screening. And I blew a .07 in that one time. And then he made me wait 20 minutes to check me again, and then it was .0 because your blood alcohol rises over time. And when I told it to the judge, he just laughed at me. He goes, "You think we're going to let you go?" One more point before I go. But regarding that one nurse about if she has any kind of legal action against those police officers, unless they broke her neck or caused her any kind of permanent injury, she really doesn't. The law and the judges consider this. I've been roughed up by the police before. And then unless they put you in a wheelchair or cause you permanent injuries, you really don't have any monetary damages against the police.
There's also wrongful arrest where I've seen
all that. It doesn't. They don't care.
It's going to be hard to get any kind of decent settlement out of a wrongful arrest that lasted for. Sorry, Bill.
Yeah.
What I was saying was it'll be difficult to get any kind of settlement out of the police for a wrongful arrest that lasted for 20 minutes. It's going to be real hard.
That's probably unlawful detainment anyway.
You're going to have some sort of attorney that really knows what they're doing, and maybe the hospital's got one of those on staff. But
this is such a high-profile case. I think she might get something.
She might get some pro bono help from another attorney. Bill, thanks for calling with your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it. Let's go to Patrick. He's in Bullhead City, an actual law enforcement officer on the line here. Patrick, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen the video? Are you familiar with this the situation with the nurse being arrested?
Yeah, I heard about it today. I haven't really seen the video, but there were three things that I was wondering all day. First of all,
hold on. We'll get your three things here in a moment. More with Patrick. Stand by. We're going to bring you back. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. If you want to join us, you can here on the radio. This is Free Talk Live. Share your thoughts on the what I would call unnecessarily violent arrest of this nurse.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-496-3947. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-496-3947. That's 1-800-496-3947. 1-800-496-3947.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
Hollywood's biggest stars are rallying for a good cause this week with the Save Our Children campaign. Celebs like Jessica Simpson, Brad Pitt, and Gwyneth Paltrow headlined a charity event to help their suffering kids who desperately need a chance to live a normal life. Angelina Jolie talked to Starfix about the charity, saying, quote, "You don't have to be a mother to want to help my children, many of whom are not getting a proper education. If you look at the numbers, 1 in 5 of my children will struggle with drug problems." Joining us now is a representative from the charity, Julie Harrison. Julie, it was such a great cause.
Absolutely. We're talking about children who don't have any positive role models. They're born into a life they didn't ask for, and if the state's not going to step up and help these kids, it's time someone did something.
Here's a quote from Victoria Beckham, and I found this powerful. "It breaks my heart to think about these kids living somewhere in my house with no hope for a happy future. Who knows if they even have food to eat?" Julie, according to your group's website, a staggering number of STARS children are being exploited growing up without parents.
Right.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free and join us on the radio here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris, and Darryl.
We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. People have comments about the nurse who was arrested in Salt Lake City for refusing to draw blood from an unconscious man after he was ostensibly involved in a traffic accident. Police wanted to know what was in his bloodstream, but he was unconscious, so he couldn't consent. And let's see, what were the other two circumstances under which she could have?
If there was a warrant or if he was under arrest.
And he was not.
Correct.
Because the cops didn't know enough to arrest him.
And they didn't have a warrant.
Correct. So we're going to tell you more about it here and play the audio, which we have yet to play, of her actual arrest, which was incredibly violent for what, was. I mean, if it was wrong for him to arrest her in the first place, but if he was going to arrest her, he could have done it in a much more professional manner than what he did, which was to basically manhandle and chase her and throw her around.
Plus, we've got quotes from Nurse Woobles.
All right, we'll get into that coming up here. But let's go back to Patrick. He's in Bullhead City, Arizona, listening to K-Talks, an actual law enforcement officer. Now, you're not working in Utah, obviously, but you said you've got three things you wanted to comment on here, so go ahead.
Okay, first of all, what was the circumstances of which the accident happened? That was the one thing they did not talk about over the radio or all these national programs. There was nothing leading up to that. So first of all,
according to the story, to answer your question, according to the New York Daily News, the truck driver was hospitalized after a pickup truck crashed into his vehicle while it was fleeing from the police. So apparently he was the victim in this particular case. The driver of the pickup truck died at the scene. So for whatever reason, they wanted to drug test or whatever, find out what was in the blood of the man who was the victim.
Kansas.com adds that the truck driver was severely burned. So medics sedated him before taking him to the hospital.
I see.
And once he was at the hospital, the cops said, well, we want his blood.
So there you go, Patrick. Go ahead.
Well, the one thing, though, that, the nurse, and I know this as a fact because I've taken many a course on this. First of all, there's HIPAA, the rights of the individual who is being under care. Custody and care is everything. Once you turn over custody, that individual, technically, if he's not under arrest, he's under doctor's care. So the only two people, like you say, that can actually do this would be under doctor's orders, or which is the hospital, or a judge. Now, the officer had neither.
Correct.
Which, in my eyes, is something that, first of all, I don't know what's going on with these officers. They seem to be snapping. You're hearing more and more of it. But first of all, the officer was wrong in doing that. First of all, if the officer was not an immediate supervisor, how in the heck does he have that authority not to call into his immediate supervisor if they're going to do something to get the paperwork started to do this?
Didn't you say that the supervisor ordered the man to arrest?
That's what one of the articles that I have pulled up is. The supervisor ordered the detective to arrest her if she did not allow him to draw the blood.
And the fact is that how is an officer giving a direct order to a nurse who works under a doctor, a direct order to do something when the nurse has a right to just say, I quit, and walk out, and they couldn't do anything.
Great point.
And the fact that this officer jumped the gun by doing what he was told to do by his immediate supervisor, first of all, if all of this happened, the supervisor, well, in most cases, I just know procedure would be under question. He would be placed under no contact. He would be placed in either administrative leave at that point, along with the two officers, until an internal panel would come in and investigate the whole situation to find out what was going on. And therefore, if they're not doing something like that, then therefore another law enforcement, such as another county, would take over that investigation. And to hear what's going on, it just, to me, it just sounds like it's crazy. I don't know what that officer was thinking. Maybe what that officer may have been on something. I don't know.
No, it's a power trip, dude. I mean, it's always interesting to me. Go ahead.
in most cases, heck, the first thing they'd do is take me in the back room in a dry cell and have somebody watch me UA or do
Urine
a blood
analysis.
test on me. And the fact is that it's just, when I heard this, I literally, it just, you know, it just tore me up inside, because you don't do stuff like that as an officer, even though it's a direct order and everything. What did she do to do it other than the fact that she was acting under a doctor's order not to do something and protecting the rights of that individual, which was HIPAA? I don't get the whole situation. And the fact is, if they jumped the gun, oh my God, you were saying nothing would happen? You're talking about probably some national lawyer right now are fighting over this case.
Yeah, look, I'm so glad that you're so reasonable. I mean, you always call in and you seem like the voice of reason when it comes to police departments, Patrick, on a lot of issues. But this doesn't surprise me at all. And as you did indicate, you're hearing more and more cases like this. Even you are hearing more about them. But we've been hearing these cases forever, where police are acting like hotheads. They're acting like, you know that there's no way they're going to be facing any kind of punishment for the actions that they take. They're running high on an adrenaline rush. We had Barry Cooper from Never Get Busted on the show many years ago, probably like a decade ago now at this point, but still friends with him, and he's a great guy. But he explained what it was like when he was a new cop. And this guy, by the way, isn't a new cop. This is an older guy. He's going bald. He's clearly balding in this footage. This guy's older. He should absolutely know better, but he's just as hot as a hothead as any young kid right off of the police squad. So
where's the voice of reason? Where's the voice of reason?
Apparently it's you.
That's what fact is I've seen officers refuse direct orders from supervisors before. Yes, you go through paperwork, you go through everything, but if you were right in your justification of why you did not do something, 9 times out of 10, 2 months later, they're going to brush it underneath the carpet, and you're going to look and, well, where's this on my file? It's going to go bye-bye. But the fact is it just does not make in any way sense. And the fact is that he laid hands on her. That's use of force. He has to justify that use of force.
And what makes even less sense is the fact that, according to this nurse, none of the other cops did anything to stop it.
No, of course
not. They
not.
just stood there and watched.
They did.
It was actually interesting watching the video, because he doesn't react to her. He reacts to her boss, who's on the phone. That's the point in which he goes and lunges at her in this attack manner.
Yeah. I've actually got that clip here, which we'll play for you.
Oh, we haven't played it yet, have we?
That's right.
Oh, the last, guys, I know you're busy, but the last thing I have to say about that every officer in that room is just as guilty as he is. Because, first of all, they're there to protect and serve and to protect the public. Nobody did anything. In 90% of the cases, they will suffer the same fate as that officer that did that.
Which is to say they'll probably get a promotion. I mean, we've seen so many different times where officers have clearly, on video, violated people's rights and used unnecessary force. And we've seen time and time again where the department will investigate. They'll find that the officers did nothing wrong, that they were doing it by the book.
They'll refuse to investigate. They'll
investigate. They always invest. They always do an internal investigation so they can come out with an
investigation.
They always do it. I've never seen them refuse to investigate. They almost always come out with a statement saying that we investigated and the officers were doing it by the book. There was no problem here.
After the fact.
But
they'll say
you can't investigate something before it happens.
No. If you report something, they'll refuse, and then they'll do some sort of investigation.
They're not under any obligation to investigate because you reported something. I'm talking about where, in situations like this, where thank you, by the way, for the call, Patrick, where the officers have been caught red-handed on video and the media is making a big deal out of it. Those are the situations where they will conduct an internal investigation, and after that, they will release. But yeah, you're right. If you go and file a complaint, then they're not going to do crap about it. It's going in the circular file. More coming up here. 855-450 free like freedom. 855-450-3733. And that's because, as you pointed out, they have no obligation to protect and no obligation to investigate. More coming up. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 1st, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.56 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,785. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. State Department has admitted in its own statement on the U.S. closing the Russian consulate in San Francisco that the move comes amid a downward spiral in our relationship. This is an unusual admission that relations are both at an all-time low and continuing to worsen at a rapid pace. While the latest hostile U.S. moves come with some lip service about the U.S. hoping to improve relations, this does not seem a sincere expectation. Rather, the State Department's comments seem more interested in trying to shift the blame. The State Department credited itself for only closing one consulate and 2 annexes, saying they have chosen to allow the Russian government to maintain some of its annexes to try to keep the situation getting worse. One official was quoted as saying, "It is our hope that the Russians will recognize that they were the ones who started the discussion on facility closures," citing the recent U.S. loss of a warehouse in Moscow and a vacation house. Absent in all official U.S. comments were the December 2016 U.S. moves to expel Russian diplomats and seize 2 vacation houses. While Russia couched their closures as retaliation for that, U.S. officials are choosing to ignore December and present Thursday's moves as retaliation for Russia's closures. The comments about hoping for better relations does not appear realistic, as the closure of a consulate is a major step forward in escalation of tensions and will almost certainly oblige Russia to take further moves. This tit-for-tat measure shows no sign of ending anytime soon. The best we can hope is that it does not further escalate. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports the Food and Drug Administration issued an alert this week for a voluntary recall of approximately 500,000 pacemakers that are vulnerable to being hacked. The FDA said Abbott's, formerly known as St. Jude's, is recalling the devices to reduce the risk of patient harm to potential exploitation of cybersecurity vulnerabilities. The models of pacemaker and cardiac resynchronization therapy pacemaker devices affected by the recall include the Accent Anthem, Accent MRI, Accent ST, Assurity, and the Allure. Patients who use any of the pacemakers on the list are advised to consult their physician for information on getting firmware updates in the device, which is supposed to secure them against the hacking vulnerability. The hacking of medical devices like pacemakers is a growing concern for the cybersecurity and medical community. In 2012, the Government Accountability Office advised the FDA to expand its focus on these threats. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a Texas law restricting a second trimester abortion technique, initially due to take effect on Friday, was put on hold for 2 weeks pending a court hearing on a challenge to the legislation, according to a federal judge in Austin, Texas. U.S. District Judge Lee Yeakel on Thursday granted a temporary restraining order against the ban on a procedure known as dilation and evacuation, requested by Planned Parenthood and other organizations challenging the law. Abortion opponents call the procedure fetal dismemberment, and it would be barred under the law passed by the Republican-controlled legislature and signed by Republican Governor Greg Abbott. Women's health groups say that the Texas abortion law is already so restrictive that it forces more women to seek the procedure during the second trimester instead of earlier. They argue that dilation and evacuation is the safest procedure and is performed before the fetus is viable. Under Yeakel's ruling, the law was stopped from going into effect until a hearing set for September 14th in U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas in Austin. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After decades of searching the cosmos, today NASA announced that what it was really looking for was right here on planet Earth all along.
For years, we've foolishly chased after comets, moons, and stars. Outer space may be beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as the smile of a child, nor as sublime as a good bottle of wine shared among friends. Our search ends where it began, here on this big blue marble.
Astronomers say that while their telescopes were pointing at Mars, they never even noticed the planet that was right in front of them. NASA now plans to appreciate what they already have. The agency's latest report, entitled Wonder is Everywhere, Finding the Beauty in the Everyday, calls for further study of the little things that truly give life meaning.
Warm rain on a summer day. The smell of pine trees, touching the worn paper of your favorite book. That's what's always made us happy. Not some asteroid a million miles away.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the second hour of the program. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Got the audio all set to go here of the most relevant portion of what is a fairly lengthy video coming out of a hospital, a university hospital in Salt Lake City. Deseret News publishing a 19-minute version of this. I have not watched the entire thing, but I did cut out the portion where the nurse is being arrested by the officer, and a few moments prior to that where she's explaining to him, and I didn't get the whole explanation in this clip, but she explains to him that the reason why she can't take blood from this unconscious man that they brought her, because there was a car accident and the man who is unconscious was actually the car that was run into. The man who ran into his car was dead, basically. And so this is the victim. They, for whatever reason, wanted to take blood from the victim, presumably to see if he was somehow under the influence. But because they didn't have a warrant, and because he wasn't conscious to consent to the blood draw, and finally, because he wasn't under arrest for anything, because he's just a victim of a car crash, so they didn't have any reason to arrest him at that point. They would have if they could have proven that he was under the influence.
Well, we just need to make it illegal to be the victim of a car crash, and then we can arrest everybody.
And so she explains to the officer while on the phone with her supervisor, hey, look, she even has the paperwork to show, like, here are the rules. We agreed to this. The hospital agreed that these were the circumstances, these 3 circumstances, the only circumstances under which we will conduct a blood draw from somebody. She explains that to the officer, and then this happens. So I'm just going to play the audio here.
I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do. That's all. So.
Okay, so I take it without those in place, I'm not going to get blood. Is that? Am I fair to surmise that?
Alex, you're not representing. I don't know. I have no idea why he's blaming me. I'm just representing me. Why are you blaming the messenger?
So that's the supervisor. A little hard to hear him. He says, why are you blaming the messenger? He's asking the officer that because she's just saying to the officer what the policy of the hospital is as delivered to her by the supervisor. So the supervisor's like, look, I'm the one who's telling you this, officer. She's just the person standing in front of you. And for the officer, that's good enough, he says.
She's the one that has told me no.
She's the one that has told me no.
Yes, sir, you're making a huge mistake right now. Like you're making a huge mistake because you're threatening a person. Okay. Oh, please. No, we're done. No.
Now, the person who said, oh, please, I believe is the man wearing the video camera who I believe to be one of the other officers. And the reason I believe that's the case is because there's another angle on this from the officer. Officer Payne is the man who makes the arrest that's about to happen here in a moment. But that statement there, and you'll hear a few other words that's said by the man with the camera. Let me play it right back here.
Okay. Oh, please. No,
You're threatening a nurse, and then the man with the camera sounds like he says, oh, please.
Right.
So does that mean, am I to interpret that to mean that the man with the camera, presumably an officer in this case, is saying, oh, please, to the idea that they're threatening the nurse?
Yeah,
like, we're
it
not
sounded as
her.
though he was being rather defensive and sort of brushing it off. There's no threat here. We're just saying you're going to get arrested if you don't do what we say. That's not a threat.
Well, did they
a threat
say
is
that?
I'm going to bash your head in.
Did they at any point say we're going to arrest you if you do
I've not watched the videos.
I didn't hear that when I
Did
listened
you
to
watch
it.
through the first portion?
I didn't watch the first portion of it, though. But at least during the incident, the more immediate incident with them going back and forth, they didn't say anything about arresting her. So.
Okay. Oh, please. No, we're done. No, we're done. You're arrested.
All right, so what you can't see happening here in the video is when the cop, this is Payne, who's saying, we're done, you're under arrest. He's grabbing at her and lunging towards her. She has stepped away from him, so if they were going to charge her with something, they probably could have charged her with resisting.
You know what blows my mind about this? Why is the officer saying we're done and then going after her? Because that's when if somebody says you're done, then that would presume that you can leave.
We're done talking is what he meant.
We're done talking. And now it's time for action.
Yep.
But he doesn't say that. He just goes and lunges at her.
Officer Payne, no talk.
There's a lot of times when people don't say everything that they're thinking, but a lot of stuff is implied.
Yeah, that's right.
So when you go to a restaurant, a lot of times you'll say, "Can I get?" When you're placing your order, even though it's implied, you're ordering that particular thing.
As opposed to, I'd like to order? Is that what you mean? Okay. Well, in this case, you've got a police officer who many officers aren't known for their intelligence. Officer Payne here clearly is, much better suited to be a gorilla who just grabs people and, throws them in places.
I pick things up, I put them down. And just to, make sure people don't think that you're just, randomly insulting police officers.
No, I'm specifically insulting Officer Payne.
But there have actually been court rulings that have said that police departments can wind up removing people from the candidate pool for being too intelligent.
Smart. Yeah, and that's the policy of some departments. I believe it was New Haven, Connecticut, which made the news about that years ago.
Oh, yeah.
For that. So
I
it's
remember
where
when
they
that
had,
happened.
if you were like more than 100 or 120, I think it was 120 or something like that in intelligence, or maybe it was the
On the
officer was
IQ.
scoring 120 on IQ and he was disqualified because of that.
Yep.
So Officer Payne has had enough of this. He's gonna let her, have
Bring
it.
the pain.
Hey, we're done, sir. I had administration.
Did he say I'm Payne? What? I almost thought I heard somebody say something about pain there.
It did sound like
Play
that.
that again here.
Hey, we're done, sir. I had administration.
It does sound
It
like
does sound like
somebody
he's
said,
saying,
I'm Payne.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's happening here is, again, she's kind of tried to get away from him, but of course he's coming at her and he grabs her, and then he literally just shoves her down the hallway, and it's just so unnecessarily violent.
Pain. Hey.
And she's yelling, somebody
Okay.
help me get off.
I think another officer is saying, "Hey, back off! You can't do this," but not actually using those words.
Yeah, he says pain and he says hey, but he doesn't say anything else. So the officer.
It sounds like it sounded to me like the other officers don't necessarily agree with it. At least somebody's not agreeing with
But they're not
the
forcefully
officers.
saying it. They're not
True.
inserting themselves. They're not
That's true.
clearly saying it. He said pain. He said hey, and he says
I think
hey
it's more
again.
like a silent way to say it to your colleague without actually saying something that's going to cause a problem later. That's how it comes off to me.
Well, Payne's not paying any attention. I mean, he's manhandling her.
Yeah.
At this point, he's got her outside. They've gone down a hallway, and he's pushed her up against like a trash can or something outside.
Yeah, it sounds like the other officer recognizes that this is wrong.
He's out of control.
Yeah.
But he's probably afraid of this guy. Like,
yeah, probably.
Payne's a big guy, and there's another officer in, I forget which video. Maybe it's the one with the camera, or maybe there's a third officer. I'm not sure how many officers there are on the scene. But the other officer is a little more of a scrawny kind of officer.
Hey. Hey.
At this point, he's got her pushed up against like the side of the building. There's like sliding doors that open up, and she's right there. And this other officer is literally standing in front of her as she's screaming. So the video footage is very clear what's going on. There's a slight portion where one of the other sort of hospital men is kind of standing in the way, and you can't really see what happens, but you can see it from Payne's perspective because there's a video on from his camera where you can see totally, him pushing her and just being completely unnecessarily violent. Now, this is that moment where one of the, let's call them respectables. A nurse is not known for, nurses generally, I mean, every now and then a nurse is going to get arrested for something, but generally nurses are sort of one of the respectable people in society, right? People look up to them, they help people, they're generally considered to be good people, and this lady probably never thought she would have an encounter like this with the police. She is shocked. Not only from the violence that's happening to her,
they're abusing
but the fact
her.
that,
Of course she's going to be shocked.
Not only from the violence that's happening to her, but because it's happening from a police officer who we've all been trained or out there supposedly to help us. It's a shock to the system in a lot of ways.
Ew, get the stinky dog away from me. Bad breath and bad gas. PD stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
At least $5,000 in vet bill. Creams, antibiotics, sprays.
No results.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids. Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa. The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The shedding is stopped and the itching is stopped.
Her coat is not soft, it's silky, it's healthy and shiny and glossy.
She's got life. She's got energy.
Tons of energy, no more bad smells.
Dinovite's the bomb.
Dinovite is the best thing that's ever happened to my dogs, besides me, of course.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Buy, Sell, Make Offer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that Buy, Sell, Make Offer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at buysellmakeoffer.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The toll-free number does allow you to bring up anything you want, although we are discussing, and almost all the calls tonight have been about this nurse in Utah who's been arrested, ultimately released after close to half an hour in police custody and not charged with anything. But they arrested her because she was not going along with what they demanded that she do. She was not violating her patient's privacy. She was not violating her patient's rights. In this case, it was an unconscious man who was involved in a car crash. He was not he was the victim. He was not the crasher. And the officer was told by this nurse that Miss Alex Wobbles is her name, that he didn't have a warrant. She didn't have consent from the unconscious man, and he wasn't under arrest for anything. So without any one of those 3 options, she was not going to participate in drawing his blood. And the officer basically said, well, you're under arrest, and went ahead and grabbed her, manhandled her, shoved her down a hallway, shoved her out a door, pushed her up against a wall. I mean, just entirely unnecessarily violent. She's screaming the entire time, just shocked that this is happening to her. And you were right, Chris, that this is something that is a shocking event, but it's more shocking for somebody in her circumstance. I mean, it wouldn't be okay for the cops to treat us like that, but we would expect to be treated like that by some cops, right?
We're not naive. We're not, a naive, a naive professional. It doesn't know anything about the law. I mean, we've had interactions with the law enforcement. We know the kind of abuses and things that they do that they shouldn't do. But
she's
they
probably
do anyway.
had interactions too, but they've probably mostly been pleasant and respectful until now.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so this was a real shock to her system. She can't believe this is happening to her. Darryl, did you say you had some quotes from her? Because I'm going to finish
I do.
I'm going to finish this audio here real fast for anybody just tuning in. That's what we're doing. We're going to play some of this audio, and you're welcome to comment. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. By the way, you don't need money to do business on Simbi.com. It's a slick and easy-to-use marketplace where you trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget the old economy. This is your economy. It's Simbi.com. S-I-M-B-I. Simbi. You won't believe the diversity of services available on Simbi.com. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. So go get your account at Simbi.com and take a look around and post your services. Simbi.com. So after shoving this nurse out a door and up against a wall as he is effecting an arrest, handcuffing her, here's the rest of the audio.
I'll hold your phone.
There's nothing wrong! Leave my phone!
Hey.
Well, the reason why it's happening is because this man is on a power trip. He is an adrenaline junkie and doesn't like being told no, and he believes that he is basically untouchable. And the evidence is he probably is untouchable for behaving in these ways. So there's no check against this man virtually for this kind of behavior.
But paid administrative leave, that's kind of a check, right?
Which is likely what he's going to get if he's in any way put on hold.
But cops are our friends. They can't do no wrong.
It's a shocker.
This is crazy!
It is.
This is really crazy!
Hold on. Did one of those cops say this is what is necessary?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
After she said this is crazy?
Let me turn it up here. Hang on a second. No, I don't think that's a cop. I think it's one of the guys. There's two white-shirted men who are clearly like hospital orderlies or something like that.
Saying this is totally unnecessary.
I think one of them says this is totally unnecessary.
Yeah,
oh,
I think that's what I'm hearing.
Unnecessary. Okay,
yeah,
I
totally
thought it said this is totally necessary.
No. No, none of the other cops. The only other cop who seems to say anything is the one cop who earlier was saying, hey,
pain.
Hey, and then he says pain, which is the name of the officer who's conducting the arrest.
This is really crazy! She's under arrest. That's fine. It doesn't have her doing her job.
Hey.
Why is he so angry?
That's fine. Okay? I'm leaving with her.
Tell Brad what's happening.
Anybody who
I'm leaving
wants
him
to take that's your option. He will be taking this.
I can't make out any of what was
to make
just
that
said
out.
there.
So ultimately, she asks, why is he so angry? And again, it's because, well, cops are used to being obeyed. They're used to people doing whatever they say, even following orders that are illegal, which is what this man wanted her to do, to violate this patient's rights because he said so. And it was the official policy of the hospital. She was following that hospital policy. He was following the orders supposedly of his supervisor. And so those orders came into conflict. And the man with the gun won the day in that particular instance, although ultimately later, according to New York Daily News, nydailynews.com, they cut her loose after keeping her in the back of a cruiser for about 20 minutes with no charges ultimately filed against her. Now, you said you had some quotes from Ms. Alex Wubbles, the nurse in question.
Yes, and again, this from NBC News. Article begins that she says what was the scariest was not being manhandled by the detective. It was that none of the other officers watching did anything to intervene.
Yep.
Quote from Alex Wubbles, I was being bullied. Nobody was willing to speak up for me. That is one of the main points of this whole issue. Not only is she a nurse, she's also a former Olympic athlete.
Wow.
So again, somebody that, this is what you said, she's one of the respectables. Somebody that, you don't expect to see in a situation like this. She said the Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski did reach out to me with a personal apology.
That's
I
not the same.
accepted that apology.
It's not the same. To have some figurehead of the city issue an apology, not the same as actually having it come from the man who committed the act.
The detective? and his supervisor have neither one issued an apology.
And they never will.
She called the disgrace that they put upon, or rather she called that a disgrace that they put upon themselves. Again, she was not charged with any crime. When asked whether she believes Payne should be disciplined, she said, "That's not for me to make that choice. I do think a lot of police act appropriately and are there to help."
Wow.
I think that's true.
I don't understand how people can have that after having gone through all of that. How can they still cling to this idea
that's
that
her experience?
Well, there are some cops that
She said 2 seconds ago
arrested Jeffrey Dahmer, so all cops can't be bad.
2 seconds ago, she just said nobody came to her rescue. None of the other cops.
No doubt.
That were there, but you know,
and
like,
yet you can hold these cops up on a platter.
That would have intervened, just happened to have been on the other side of the city arresting a burglar.
Well, and she's had interactions with other cops as a hospital nurse. She's probably interacted with a number of officers over the years that she's been there, and most of those interactions have probably been pleasant, where they've been respectful towards her, and so that's why this was such a shock to the system.
Further, Wubel said of Detective Payne, he was on a mission. I just knew I was in the right.
Yeah, she wasn't being targeted those other times, and that's the thing. That's what cops do. They target people.
Right.
So, they'll target one person in a group to pick on and go from there. So,
good for her. Kudos to her for refusing to do the wrong thing.
She also said, "I'm still confused." So, like, this entire situation is still baffling to everybody involved, it seems.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Coming up, intellectual property. The Rubik's Cube Company is apparently bringing some action against competitors. We'll explain coming up. Free Talk Live.
Are you one of the 70% of Americans that want to own your own business? Afraid to leave the security of your current job to pursue your dreams? I'm Pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and myself want to show you a low-cost way to create your own business, working around your current job schedule, creating extra income for you and your family by joining his crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.
Username LRN.FM. Joining you in studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Also, don't forget, you can shop with Free Talk Live over at shop.freetalklive.com. When you do that, Free Talk Live gets a cut of the purchase price. It's the same great Amazon experience that you're used to. It's just that you're entering through our affiliate link, so Free Talk Live gets a piece of the purchase rather than all of it going to Amazon. So, once again, start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Whether you are Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, or Amazon US user, we got links for all three of them there at shop.freetalklive.com. To the phones, to the fun, and then coming up, we'll talk about the Rubik's Cube intellectual property lawsuit or court situation of some sort. I don't know the story. Darryl has it. He'll share it with us. But first, Tom is in Nashua, New Hampshire. Actually, I don't know if my internet connection is working right now, which means that I have no ability to actually call up Tom's call. So if our board op is listening to me and wants to bring Tom on, at this point, it doesn't appear that I have internet access. And so what we have here is a situation that normally we can just...
I'm here.
He is there. Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Operator. I appreciate that. Tom, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's about the Cobb County, Georgia cop that was telling the motorist, oh, no, we only kill black people. Okay, you heard about that one?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah. I saw a headline on that.
Yeah, I heard about this. This is crazy.
Well, I emailed that police chief to express that I think the cop should be fired because, in part, it's an outrageous lie. They don't only kill black people, they'll kill any people. By the way, police chief, who are you planning to sponge off of after you're all done exterminating the humans?
Cops are trained to lie. They're not going to get fired for that.
No, certainly not.
No,
I mean, they are going to kill pretty much anybody, but they may actually kill more blacks per, capita than others. That's probably true.
But who are they going to sponge off of if they exterminate all the humans?
Well, they're not stupid enough to do that. I mean, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to kill all the people.
Right.
Yeah, because anyway, about the case...
They can't kill. They can't start killing all the respectables off because they got attorneys and stuff, and then they might actually get held accountable.
So what they got to do is, like that case out in Utah there, it's a perfect example of what I've been saying. The unalienable right not to be arrested preempts the rule of law. And here she is being taken into custody for no reason. If you happen to be walking down the street or you're at the hospital waiting room or anything, you ever see any confrontation, chase, scuffle, or shootout going on between cops and humans, always presume the cops are 100% in the wrong, first of all. And, it'll serve that, it'll serve them right if after a drug raid, a cop gets rushed into the hospital, with a gunshot wound, bleeding all over the place, and the nurse refuses to provide treatment. Okay, well, hey, you brought it on yourself. People should never render aid to a cop in distress either.
Well, I mean, I think you go a little too far, but you tend to be an advocate for violence, and I don't agree with that, Tom. Thanks for the call tonight. Police are human beings. They are fallible. Unfortunately, the fact that they're fallible combined with the fact they have power means that huge mistakes are made that can cost people their lives, their fortunes, their family members, and it can cost their jobs. The police have this incredible, just basically nearly unchecked ability to get away with any kind of just absolute ridiculous wielding of violence and power. And that is the problem. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be shown compassion. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be shown forgiveness. But it would be nice if the police, I don't know, could find some compassion, some of them, because not all of them are cold, heartless monsters, but there definitely are some of them that act like robots, and they do not act like they care about people.
Right, and again, the cop apologist will say, well, that's just a few bad apples.
It's not.
And it might just be, but hold on, the full sentence is, a few bad apples spoils the bunch.
Right. You did have a couple of, at least one, if not more than one, other cop in the situation with the nurse, and all the other cop did was say "hey" a couple times and said the cop's, the other cop's name. But that cop was so involved in making that arrest, he didn't hear any of that.
He didn't yell at the guy. He didn't say, "Hey, knock it off!"
Right. Yeah. Not only could he have yelled at the guy, but he could have separated him and be like, "Whoa, you are out of line."
Right.
And he would have been within his rights to do that.
Hey, stop. But he didn't even say stop. He just said, hey.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yep. No, that didn't get his attention.
Pain.
Didn't work. If he was intending to get Payne's attention, Officer Payne, the arresting officer,
he would have yelled.
Yeah, if he wanted to get his attention,
he knock it off.
Failed. Yeah.
He would have said things that I can't say on the radio.
Right, and it may have been a rank issue as well. So Payne was a detective in this case, and he may have been backed by a couple of rookies or a couple of privates or whatever the heck they call the entry-level cops. But they don't use the term private.
Generally,
that's a military
officer.
term. Yeah, okay, officer.
So it's officers, sergeants, lieutenants.
Okay, captain.
And
chief.
detective is just like a complete different.
Detective's higher up than officer, though, because you have to start as an officer, and then you get promoted to detective.
But you could be
and you could be a sergeant and
without
a detective.
Being a detective. You could be a detective.
That's
blah
correct.
blah blah. So it's a different chain of command, if you will.
But still, generally, the detective is higher than officer.
Are higher than officers.
Yeah. So who knows what sort of things were in play there? But we've seen so many videos of police just acting ridiculous and violent with other cops there just watching it happen.
Yep.
It's one thing for them to assist because then they're complicit in it directly, but in this case they're complicit in it in that they didn't do anything about it. So had those two other cops or whatever separated Officer Payne or Detective Payne from the victim, the nurse in this case, I don't think they would have been held liable for any kind of assault or anything like that.
So
that man was out of control.
There's active compliance and then passive compliance.
What do you mean?
Or not, but you're either actively involved or you're passively. So they were passively involved in this situation because they stood there and watched it happen and let it happen.
And they couldn't claim they didn't know what was happening.
Right.
Oh,
so
no, definitely not.
They weren't trying to stop it, but they also weren't trying to, take part in the assault.
I'm curious, have you guys have seen a lot of cops in the real world. Have you ever seen another cop get involved and stop another officer from doing something that they shouldn't have been doing?
In real life?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think I've seen a video or two.
I feel like I've seen one video.
And that officer wound up being discharged from her duties.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Obviously, this is a discussion that I think is very important to talk about the police and talk about, different options for how we can move forward without, how can we have protection services without having this insanity where these men and women get on these power trips and have absolutely no responsibility for their actions.
I would say something along the lines of a free market, and to some extent you have that with private security, to where if a private security guard were to do this,
and they were there,
that person would have lost his job. The security company would then probably wind up having a really bad PR disaster on their hands. And, they would have to try to salvage contracts, because who wants to hire private security knowing that
they're a liability?
They let their officers get away with this stuff.
Yeah, this is the biggest problem with
It's an
our
insurance
current
liability.
With our current system, is that there's no liability on the officers or the people who
Correct.
are, they're committing these assaults.
So we're not going to have a free market tomorrow, but with the current system, we could have some reforms where the officers are liable for their actions.
Yeah, and it's not unprecedented. There are other states that have there's all sorts of different liability. I want to say waivers. So there's different types of liability, and so certainly at least we could reduce the number of waivers from liability that cops have.
Let's continue. Your calls and thoughts welcome. You can join us here toll free 855-450-FREE like freedom 855-450-3733. And this is Free Talk Live. Also, Skype username LRN.FM.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, SIMBI.com.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Join us right here. Our toll free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Coming up, Rubik's Cube, strangely, is in the news. The classic childhood toy that none of us could probably complete at any point. Have either of you guys ever actually completed a Rubik's Cube?
Yes.
Really?
But
you took off the labels?
No. I did have help.
How's that?
There's actually a Rubik's Cube solver thing that I found online to where you type in, like, here's what each one of the sides looks like.
Wow.
And then
it shows you the steps.
Does algorithms and tells you the steps.
That's cheating.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't say it wasn't. I said I solved it with help.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I've not, but I know people who have.
Oh, I know people who have as well.
Yeah, Bob would definitely be able to solve
This is your boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah.
So more coming up here. You can share your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We'll talk about the Rubik's Cube thing here in moments. But first, let's go to Ralph in New Jersey for your daily dose of racism. Go ahead, Ralph, because you don't ever talk about anything else. Anything.
Sometimes he laughs.
Every now and then he'll call about Trump, but it's been a long time. Huh?
The animalistic ways of the black, and I will talk about that later on.
How about the animalistic ways of this police officer?
He was a white guy.
Yeah, an old white guy. Officer Payne. Detective Payne.
And the nurse was what? The nurse was
also white. That's right.
Okay, so that's white on white. Thanks goodness. That didn't.
Well, wait. Aren't you going to qualify him as an animal? I mean, he roughed this lady up.
The fact of the matter is, the hate that he produced in this country, that is black bigotry. The hate that hate produced in this country.
The hateful Jews? What did you say?
No, the hate that hate produced. So hate produced some hate.
Black bigotry. It's black bigotry, and there's got to be a way for you white guilty to be the antidote for that, because
the antidote for hate,
for the black racism that is currently going on in this country.
How are
now.
white guilty people going? If presuming there are any on this show, which I don't think there are, but you seem to be obsessed with the idea. How are white guilty people going to be able to?
How about we just counteract your bigotry?
Well, we do that every time. I mean,
right? You put out this hyperbole, this hypothesis, this fantasy, this illusion, this hype. To can't you not at least see this for? See this man, Ralph, for what he is. He's just a pretend racist. Okay?
See Ralph for what he is? Are you talking about yourself?
The guy that we're talking to right now.
Are you talking about yourself in the third person?
Yeah, I think he is.
A pretend racist, cannot be racist enough since he can't, look at the character of people. Rather than
I am so confused. Are you saying right now that you're actually you're just putting us on, that you're a pretend racist that you call every time you're not actually?
Wasn't that Archie Bunker, the Archie Bunker character on TV? He was just a pretend racist. In real life, he was not that.
I have no clue if any of the things you just said were
Archie
words.
Bunker. Yeah, he's talking about a television character. What show is that guy from?
All in the Family. Rob
was there
Reiner
a Ralph?
plays Meathead.
Was there a Ralph on that show that he's talking about?
No. Archie Bunker was a white guy.
I don't think there was any, but
I'm so
more
confused.
to my point, the animalistic ways of the black. Here we go again, right?
What about the racist ways of you to where you only call black people animals, but you never refer to white people that do horrible things to be animals. You don't even refer to Rodrigo Duterte. You don't refer to Rodrigo Duterte as an animal.
That's the president of the Philippines.
What about that? Can you that prove you? You woke man and you are white guilty.
Why am I guilty? What?
Can you explain what this man is saying?
Who?
You know that this. I believe he is referred to. That's Charles Barkley being described. You know who Charles Barkley
The basketball player.
Yeah, the round mound of rebound from like two towns over from where I grew up.
What about Charles Barkley? I mean, he's old. Was he in the news again?
He is referred to as a black-white supremacy. Now, what was people trying
He's
to
a
say?
black-white supremacy?
White supremacy, correct.
What does that mean?
You know,
that he supports white supremacy?
Well, you know, he has a different position with regard to, you know, General Lee and what's currently going on right now. Largely driven
Here's
by
the headline.
El
According to The Root, Charles Barkley is a great example of a black-white supremacist. So apparently
there you go.
you didn't make this up.
There you go. The Root's right.
Are you saying that he's like an Uncle Tom?
You see, black-white supremacy, we can come up with that kind of term. I definitely can also come up with the term white guilty, black bigotry.
I still don't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry, Ralph. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. I'm going to give you one more chance. How is he a black-white supremacist? What does that even mean?
Well, you ask him. The Root is
I'll just call him right up and ask him.
The Root is an Afrocentric, whatever that's supposed to mean. Now, what does that mean, actually, Walkman? The term Afrocentric. What does that supposed to mean?
Thank you for the call tonight, Ralph. I try my best here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Theblaze.com reporting on August 25th, Charles Barkley is branded as a black-white supremacist after comments on crime and Confederate statues. NBA analyst Charles Barkley drew heavy criticism from the black community this week simply for refusing to condemn Confederate statues and calling for an end to black-on-black crime. Michael Harriot, a writer for The Root, blasted the former NBA basketball star in a piece titled Charles Barkley is a great example of a black-white supremacist after Barkley infuriated the black community. And this is such poor writing. I'm sorry. The idea that the black community is any one thing or has any single belief is ridiculous. Just in the same way that all whites don't agree on everything.
But, there are people that want to push a narrative, and part of that narrative is collectivism of every person that fits into fill-in-the-blank category.
They're the same.
Thinks and acts the same. The LGBT community, blah, blah, blah. The black community, blah, blah, blah. The Hispanic community, blah, blah, blah.
It's part of the problem, what you're talking about there.
Yes. Yeah. Collectivism is a problem.
And here's another story from all the way back in May where Charles Barkley took on Richard Spencer. And this Richard Spencer guy is one of the, the worst, scuzziest white supremacists out there.
Yep.
So, I mean, clearly, if Charles Barkley is debating this guy, he's obviously not a white supremacist. I mean, what a ridiculous claim. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. But apparently, according to The Blaze, they say here Barkley told a Birmingham, Alabama news station he felt time and energy spending debating the viability and necessity of Confederate monuments was a waste. I totally agree with him. I don't understand why people went and fought over a damn monument to some Southern soldier. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's just look, you like that soldier that much? Go ahead and buy the monument or something. Raise some money and go take it and put it somewhere. But to fight over, how important it is, it's not important. No one cares. No one should care, at least. Like, apparently people do care. And too many of them.
Your suggestion of buy it and put it on your own private property easier said than done, because a lot of southern states have passed laws recently saying that monuments that have been on public property for more than 40 years can't be modified.
Wow. Let's go to Chris.
Can't be moved, can't be removed.
Chris is in Arizona listening to K-Talks. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Hey, that police thing in Utah?
Yeah, where the cop arrested
what I understood
the
from
nurse.
Yeah, from what I understand of the story, the nurse gave him the 3 reasons she would be permitted that were agreed to by his police department.
That's correct.
One was a warrant. One was if the patient gave consent.
Yep.
And one is if the person was under arrest.
Correct.
Now, the patient themselves, I understand, was incapacitated.
The person was unconscious at the time. Stand by, Chris. You're driving at something. We're going to give you a chance to explain it coming up here in moments. Hang through the news with us. It's Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Liquid Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 1st, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.56 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,785. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. State Department has admitted in its own statement on the U.S. closing the Russian consulate in San Francisco that the move comes amid a downward spiral in our relationship. This is an unusual admission that relations are both at an all-time low and continuing to worsen at a rapid pace. While the latest hostile U.S. moves come with some lip service about the U.S. hoping to improve relations, this does not seem a sincere expectation. Rather, the State Department's comments seem more interested in trying to shift the blame. The State Department credited itself for only closing 1 consulate and 2 annexes, saying they have chosen to allow the Russian government to maintain some of its annexes to try to keep the situation getting worse. One official was quoted as saying, "It is our hope that the Russians will recognize that they were the ones who started the discussion on facility closures," citing the recent U.S. loss of a warehouse in Moscow and a vacation house. Absent in all official U.S. comments were the December 2016 U.S. moves to expel Russian diplomats and seized 2 vacation houses. While Russia couched their closures as retaliation for that, U.S. officials are choosing to ignore December and present Thursday's moves as retaliation for Russia's closures. The comments about hoping for better relations does not appear realistic, as the closure of a consulate is a major step forward in escalation of tensions and will almost certainly oblige Russia to take further moves. This tit-for-tat measure shows no sign of ending anytime soon. The best we can hope is that it does not further escalate. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports the Food and Drug Administration issued an alert this week for a voluntary recall of approximately 500,000 pacemakers that are vulnerable to being hacked. The FDA said Abbott's, formerly known as St. Jude's, is recalling the devices to reduce the risk of patient harm to potential exploitation of cybersecurity vulnerabilities. The models of pacemaker and cardiac resynchronization therapy pacemaker devices affected by the recall include the Accent Anthem, Accent MRI, Accent ST, Assurity, and the Allure. Patients who use any of the pacemakers on the list are advised to consult their physician for information on getting firmware updates in the device, which is supposed to secure them against the hacking vulnerability. The hacking of medical devices like pacemakers is a growing concern for the cybersecurity and medical community. In 2012, the Government Accountability Office advised the FDA to expand its focus on these threats. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a Texas law restricting a second trimester abortion technique, initially due to take effect on Friday, was put on hold for 2 weeks pending a court hearing on a challenge to the legislation, according to a federal judge in Austin, Texas. U.S. District Judge Lee Yeckel on Thursday granted a temporary restraining order against the ban on a procedure known as dilation and evacuation, requested by Planned Parenthood and other organizations challenging the law. Abortion opponents call the procedure fetal dismemberment, and it would be barred under the law passed by the Republican-controlled legislature and signed by Republican Governor Greg Abbott. Women's health groups say that the Texas abortion law is already so restrictive that it forces more women to seek the procedure during the second trimester instead of earlier. They argue that dilation and evacuation is the safest procedure and is performed before the fetus is viable. Under Yeckel's ruling, the law was stopped from going into effect until a hearing set for September 14th in U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas in Austin. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
For the past several years now, area woman Caitlin Mooney has been convinced that each and every one of her friends should be a professional comedian. Our reporters spoke to Caitlin this morning about her, quote, hilarious group of friends.
Karen is so funny. I can't even explain it. She's always just saying whatever on her mind. She has this totally sassy attitude. You just can't help but laugh. My roommate Rashmi, she always has these hilarious stories that, they're just too much. I'm always telling her that she should just go up on stage and talk. Everyone would love it.
Mooney went on to say that her good friend Lauren is so funny she could, quote, definitely be on Saturday Night Live or The Office, a sentiment she echoed about a number of her other acquaintances, including her childhood friend Marcia, her college roommate Angela, her coworker Julie, and even her sister Jennifer.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll free. You can bring up anything you want. We're launching into the third hour of the show. Plenty of time for you to call us about anything that you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We've got the Rubik's Cube lawsuit story coming up. Daryl's going to share that with us. It is Ian, Chris, and Darryl here on this Friday show. As we go back to Chris in Arizona, listening to K-Talks, the bulk of the show tonight is a topic you brought in, Chris. By the way, it's Chris... Can I say your last name on here? Chris Wade.
No.
We have more, not you, Chris. I don't know your last name. But in the studio with us here, Chris Wade is here from thinkpenguin.com. And Chris in Arizona is on the line. You wanted to comment about the cop, police detective in Utah, Salt Lake City, who roughed up completely unnecessarily and arrested a nurse because she would not draw blood from an unconscious man.
He didn't arrest. He unlawfully detained.
Well, this is actually a discussion we were getting into during one of the breaks in here, where we were trying to determine, what is the dividing line, and it turns out it's not a real firm line between detention and arrest.
It is a firm line. An arrest starts with the Miranda Act.
No, it does not. You are incorrect about that. Miranda only happens. That's how they do it on the television shows. But in reality, they don't have to Mirandize you until they intend to ask you questions.
Right, and there was actually a U.S. Supreme Court case about that just a couple of years ago.
Having spent 3 days in cuffs and a cell, until they Mirandized me, I was not considered arrested.
Well, you're wrong about that. I'm sorry.
And that might have been the rules at the time where you live.
State to state, it could depend from state to state and different municipalities. But the whole thing, going back to where we were at, she couldn't draw blood because he was incapacitated, nor could the police officer arrest him because he was incapacitated.
That's correct. You're talking about a man who was in a car accident. He was a victim of a car accident and was unconscious after that.
So no, I think if the person is, incapacitated and, was seen committing a crime,
they could be arrested.
You can arrest that person.
Yeah, that's true.
They did.
Yeah. Now you're splitting hairs, but
well, that's what we do here.
I know. So that's the only recourse that left the officer was to look for a warrant.
So
now the hospital is going to draw blood anyway. I don't know how the HIPAA laws work, but that's where the warrant would come in to get the blood draw.
Were you going to?
Yeah. So they actually did state something about making an arrest there towards, not immediately. It was a little bit later, but they did say she was under arrest. So interesting.
Oh, because the last I heard was that they put her in a police car in cuffs, and they held her for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then they released her.
That's correct, but the officer did arrest her.
So she was never truly under arrest.
Well, again,
the officer said, "You're under arrest."
The officer said that. He put her in handcuffs and put her in a police car. And again, this brings up the discussion of what is a detention versus what is an arrest. And we can talk more about that here. I understand. Typically, when you get arrested, they take you to jail or book you at the police department and maybe bond you out and release you. But in this case, they determined that they didn't actually have anything they could charge her with, so they cut her loose right there. Or their attorney said, "Look, get rid of, let this lady go. You've already put us at liability here." But ultimately, generally, according to NOLO.com, how to tell whether you've been arrested or simply detained, they go through a variety of factors that courts consider in determining whether a detention has what they call ripened into an arrest. And one of those, factors is indeed whether the suspect was handcuffed. That is generally considered one of the things that is taken into consideration to say this person has been arrested. So a charge isn't necessary just to say that you have an arrest on your hands.
Yeah, and this always kind of baffles me, because if the officer doesn't say you're under arrested, like, how do you know whether or not you have to obey like an order, or it's
you can ask.
Yeah,
you can always ask about your status,
but they often don't give you the opportunity because they continue talking, and they intentionally prevent you from asking or confirming or whatever, and then they later will charge you with disobeying it or whatever, and that's always what blows my mind, because it's like, how are you supposed to know whether or not you can continue to walk or not continue to walk, or if they're not going to even give you that, if they're not even going to let you ask, because they just keep going on and on and on until the point where you can't even remember that you were going to ask, but
Chris in Arizona, anything you want to add?
No, like I said, there's in a lot of the different states I've lived in, New Hampshire being one of them, they are allowed to detain you for it varies from state to state, but it's 24 to 48 hours. That's not an arrest. That's a detainment.
That's an unusually long detention.
Yeah, it's just so they can build a case in most cases. But like you said before, once they started questioning you, they have to Mirandize you. And at that point, you're entitled to your lawyer, and you don't have to answer any questions, even from the first contact with the police officer. With that said, I've had a lot of great police officer experiences. He was totally wrong in what he did. The other officers were wrong, even if they were under his rank. The nurse would be well within her rights to file unlawful detainment charges, but like I said, the only recourse to both of them was a warrant.
I'm interested in hearing more about this claim that you can detain someone for a day to 2 days. You're saying that's an Arizona law?
No, that I forget which state that was, but
it varies from state to state.
48 hours, yeah.
And there's actually, I believe, been Supreme Court cases on this, and Supreme Court's actually upheld, I believe, 72-hour detentions.
I mean, there's certainly in Florida, there's what's called the Baker Act, and there are various different versions of that. They're called different things in different places where you can involuntarily commit somebody for 72 hours. That's different, of course, than a typical detention, because for a detention, generally, is my understanding, they need to have what's called reasonable articulable suspicion that you have been involved in some sort of crime. But
it's not only that it may not be that you're involved in some sort of crime, it's that you may have information that you are unaware of a crime.
Okay.
But they still need something along the lines of probable cause or reasonable suspicion.
Well, probable cause is a higher
levels.
standard, right? So probable cause is the higher standard that you need to arrest somebody. Reasonable suspicion is what you need to detain. Isn't that right?
Just, like,
not
we think that you know something.
They've detained people who weren't directly involved with the crime because they think they might know something about that.
Right. They want to get some information, witnesses or whatever, extracting information out of them. Although that said, I remember there was a case, some kind of Supreme Court case from a few years back about what is the length of time that they can just detain you on the side of the road. And
isn't it? I think we're thinking about this wrong. I think it's articulable suspicion is needed by a police officer, but probable cause is when they actually go to court.
Probable cause is something
to
they
get a
need
warrant
to arrest you, as I understand it.
No, I think they only need articulable suspicion. It's probable cause. They need to actually
you need
get a
probable cause to get a search warrant,
right?
Yeah, that's true. But as far as like where, and again, there's this fine line between what's an arrest, what's a detention, and like in either case, I'm fairly certain that if they'd say, "Well, I had reasonable suspicion," it's probably going to get held up.
It has to be articulable suspicion, meaning they have to have the set of facts that leads them to believe that. They can't just say...
Articulable just means that you're able to say
articulate
what your reasonable suspicion is.
Right.
And that
so there
could be
has to be
something...
hunch.
That could be something...
No. A hunch is not good enough. It has to be a set of facts.
It's not just a hunch.
Right. I'm sorry, Mr.
It could be something as simple as, I smelled marijuana. I smelled alcohol.
Right. That would be articulable suspicion.
Chris, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Story here from TaylorLawCo.com, the Taylor Law Company. Says we've all heard the terms on cop shows and read them in articles on crime and probable cause and reasonable suspicion. What are they and how do they differ from each other? We'll talk about that a little bit here. Better to hear it from an attorney than the three of us trying to remember what we've heard about these things over the years. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. These are important concepts. We'll dig into them a little bit more here coming up, and you can share your thoughts. Take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go to your phone and call right now to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device, absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP. an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-940-1740. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-940-1740. That's 1-800-940-1740.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-774-3149 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-774-3149. Again, that's 800-774-3149.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better, no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Chris.
And Darryl.
And we were talking about probable cause and reasonable suspicion and kind of bickering in the studio over what it all really means. What do these terms mean? Well, here's what at least one attorney says. Now, of course, attorneys just have opinions too, but they went to school for those opinions. So he's kind of going to break this down a little bit here from TaylorLawCo.com. Reasonable suspicion, he writes, is a reasonable presumption that a crime has been, is being, or will be committed. It's a reasonable belief based on facts or circumstances and is informed by a police officer's training and experience. Reasonable suspicion is seen as more than a guess or hunch, but less than probable cause.
You looked like you were about to jaywalk, so therefore that's my reasonable suspicion.
That sounds like articulate. He seems like so articulate is the key word, I think, legally, and I think it's weird that he used the word reason because reasonable.
Articulable just means that you can put into words what your suspicion
pretty much,
is.
Yeah,
Instead
pretty
of
much.
saying I've got a hunch, or I don't like the way that guy looks.
Often cops can't do that though when it comes down to it. So
well, and if they can't, then they got to let you go. I mean, if they don't have any,
theoretically they do. I mean, but.
So, probable cause is the logical belief supported by facts and circumstances that a crime has been, is being, or will be committed. The difference between the two terms is that probable cause means there is concrete evidence of a crime, whereas reasonable suspicion is open to a broader interpretation. Reasonable suspicion indicates that it appears that a crime has been committed. The phrase often is used to justify investigation into suspicious behavior when a crime may have been committed.
And it could just be something as simple as, well, there was somebody that was dressed like this that robbed this convenience store last week, and you're dressed like this, so
therefore, we need to investigate.
Therefore, we either think you did it or you're about to go rob the convenience store, which basically is a hunch, but they're able to word that hunch in such a way as to where it's articulable.
Yeah.
And then if they stop the person based on this supposed suspicion and detain them, that's when they will ask further questions, which you, by the way, are under no obligation to answer their questions if the police stop you. Even if you're being detained or arrested, you don't have to answer their questions, or if they're just talking to you on the street and you're not being detained.
Right.
Cops will try to get information from you to where if they see you and you look like the person who robbed the convenience store, and of course half the time they're making that crap up. Nobody robbed the damn convenience store. But, they're just saying that. So they can then ask you questions, or maybe there really was a convenience store robbery, in which case if you don't know your rights and you actually did violate, somebody else, you did actually commit a violent crime, in which case I don't really care what, happens to you. But, if you are you talk yourself into an arrest by saying, oh yeah, that was me, or whatever, if you somehow say things that give them more evidence.
There are a lot of people that snitch on themselves.
Right. So if you give them more evidence while they're talking to you, then they will escalate from having reasonable suspicion into having probable cause, and they'll put you in handcuffs.
Right. And I know that there are some people that, there's the popular meme on Facebook and other social media, how to talk to cops. Don't. Well, that's bad advice, simply because the U.S. Supreme Court just a couple of years ago ruled that if you want to invoke your right to remain silent, you must inform the officer that you are going to invoke your right to remain silent.
Which is so stupid.
Which means that you either need to verbalize to them or have a handwritten note in a language that they can read.
This is actually really interesting. So when I invoked my rights, I was told I have no rights when I was arrested.
Oh, man. Was that on the video, do you think?
No, because it was after the cameras. I don't think it's going to be on video, unfortunately.
You haven't even seen that yet. You've still yet to see, after months now.
Oh, yeah.
When you were arrested in Manchester, where I was one of the videos.
They're withholding that video.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
They have to give it up at some point.
Oh, we should have had it. We should have had it within 10 days of the trial management conference, and as far as I know, we still don't have it.
And when is that?
The 7th.
The 7th of...
September.
Oh.
And so next week.
Hold on. So what's happening on the 7th? Is it a pre-trial conference?
Management conference. So that's not the trial.
Okay.
Just to be clear. And we are taking it to trial, by the way.
Excellent. And they did offer you a plea deal, did they not?
They offered me a really super good plea deal. Basically,
you've been charged with disorderly conduct and resisting? Did they get you with resisting? What was the other charge?
No, they didn't get me. I clearly didn't resist. There was no way they could have won that. Disorderly, they charged me with.
So wait, just one disorderly?
Disorderly and crossing the street.
Okay, right. They threw that in later. It was
That's
they tacked that on.
a violation, yeah.
Okay, and so the video footage that I had of that event, they did not confiscate. That went online, so if you search for Christopher Wade on Free Keene or Chris Wade on Free Keene, that should come up, freekeene.com. If you haven't seen that footage, it's pretty outrageous how the police treated you.
Yeah, it's
all for trying to cross the street. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And that was at a DUI checkpoint, by the way, for those that don't know. So you were one of the arrests. Were you one of the 3 arrests at the DUI? Or no, it was 3 DUI arrests.
No, there was no DUI arrest then.
No, not that
DUI
time.
arrests.
But I meant 3 over 3 years.
3 arrests, but no DUI.
3 DUI arrests over 3 years is what they had in Manchester.
Okay, yeah.
But at the checkpoint you're talking about, they had 0 DUI arrests, and yours was the only arrest from that night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something like there were no. I don't know. I just know there were no DUI arrests that night.
That's my understanding. If I recall correctly, they did not.
Yeah,
have
that might
any,
be correct.
Any other arrests.
Yeah, that might be right.
Sort of like how out here when we had the DUI checkpoint in 2012, which was the last time we had one out here. There's actually one tonight and one tomorrow night in our area of New Hampshire. We're out in the Keene area. But in 2012, they also had no DUI arrests. They had no arrests except for one person, and the one person who was arrested was also a cop block activist named Eric Freerock, who made the rookie mistake.
At the time, he was hosting Cop Block Radio,
yes,
so he knew better.
He knew better
than to drive through without anybody else in the car, without a camera rolling, and without notifying anybody that he was driving through.
Yeah, so we had no idea until he got arrested. That he was arrested.
Where's Eric?
Yeah, so that was a total cluster F in that case. But we did successfully interdict the checkpoint in that we managed to find a detour around to where we could stand with the signs and direct cars like, hey, there's a checkpoint coming up. We were holding signs with the arrows on them like, turn here. Some people would stop and talk to us, and then they'd turn and they'd get around the checkpoint. So the police literally had no success whatsoever at the checkpoint that night. So it'll be interesting to see how things go this weekend, because they're doing the checkpoint tonight is in the same town. It's in Walpole, New Hampshire, that it was 5 years ago. And then tomorrow night, it's going to be in a different town called Chesterfield, which I've never done. There's never been a checkpoint in Chesterfield in my decade plus here that I've known about. And this is I think, going to be a bigger one because it's likely going to be on the main drag in Chesterfield, because there ain't much in Chesterfield.
There's nothing in Chesterfield.
There's like a bank.
There's no place to even meet.
Right.
There's a golf course that accepts Bitcoin in Chesterfield.
I thought they were in
Are they in
They're in Spofford, which is a village inside the town of Chesterfield.
Oh, interesting.
It's so weird that
I'm not sure you can meet up at a golf course, though.
It's so weird that there's something smaller than a town. There's a village, which is even smaller than a town, which is already very, very small. There's basically nothing. Certainly, there's a bank in Chesterfield, and there's like a couple stores, but nothing's open past,
There's no
5 o'clock at night.
There's no McDonald's.
Yeah, more coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
Free Talk Live.
Oh, if only everyone were to behave in the way I think they should behave, humanity would be better off. Again, it's just trying to impose one's vision on others. You can't be humane to others by being inhumane in the first place. And by forcing them to behave or do things that you want them to do or think in the way that you want them to think, that's inhumane. You're not respecting their choices as a free, sovereign individual. And that's what liberty is all about. You respect the rights of others to live their lives, even in self-destructive ways that you think are a bad choice, so that in turn, you have the right to live your life in any way that you choose.
That's what it's all about. And as soon as you violate that, as soon as you take a step into the world of initiating force on others, then anything's game. You validated that it's okay to use force to get your way as far as changing other people's behavior.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We got time for you if you want to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
We do have Skype, by the way. Our Skype username is lrn.fm, and you can join us online anytime you want over at freetalklive.com. Download archives of the show for free. Get on the email list as well. We got a weekly email that I send out to kind of keep you in the loop with what's happening with Free Talk Live. That email sign-up box is right there on the front page of the site, kind of in the middle towards the top. You'll see it there. Over at freetalklive.com, let's go to Sarah. She's in Albuquerque. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, you know how you guys always ridicule me about how we have one person, the same person, get hit by 2 cars and getting killed? Well, we just had a kid jaywalking last night, always at nighttime, on Central, and he got hit by the first car, got pushed into the second lane, and he got killed by the second car.
Oof, brutal.
So the same person. This is the 9th person. It almost happens like every other year. This is the 9th person or 8th person that have been hit by 2 different cars and get killed.
So Sarah, okay. Let me interject here. And the only reason that I will sort of pick on you about the way, it's the way you're saying it, not the thing that happens. I'm in no way, advocating for people getting run over, but the way you say all the time, every day, every couple of years, it's this thing happens. So you make it sound like it happens every day, but then you say it's like once a year or 9 times over the last decade. So it's the way you say it. It would be akin to if I said, I won the lottery every day, all the time, constantly, but it was $5 once 2 years ago. Like, it's complete opposite of what actually happened.
But what I mean is that you make it sound like it's the same person that gets killed like 9 times. No, 9 different people.
That's only because that's the way you make it sound.
How big is this city? Because 9 people doesn't seem like that many over a period of many years.
Albuquerque's a major city. I mean, you're right. That's not a lot of people.
That's like nothing. That seems like it's a really, really low statistic.
But there are plenty of people who get hit by cars just once and they get killed or whatever.
Okay, but what's the objective? Like, what? So why'd you bring this up, Sarah?
Good question.
Albuquerque proper has 558,000 people. The metro has just under 1 million.
Yeah, that's huge.
Well, I'm bringing it up because to prove to you that it happened again. You know, you make it sound like I'm just.
We don't deny that it happens, Sarah.
Yeah. What makes you think we think that it doesn't ever happen? It happens all the time. There's a lot of people.
But what I'm saying is that Ann, you said you had a friend that got put in jail for a traffic violation. I was going to invite him to live in Albuquerque. He could run over all the people he wants. They'll never put him in jail. So the caller that gets put in jail. And then you today,
the guy I know was put in jail because he didn't have a driver, or his license was suspended.
Well, but he had racked up tickets or didn't pay and go to court. Well, he should need to come to Albuquerque because, like last night, they just get hit by 2 cars, but the same person. But it always happens at night, 10 o'clock at night.
Always at 10 o'clock. All night. And all night
Sarah,
happened at 10 o'clock. So.
I'm going to reiterate some statistics that I've mentioned when you've been on the air before, but you just completely ignore.
She'll ignore it this time, too. Give it a shot, because we have new listeners.
I've pulled up these statistics numerous times of the people that wound up getting hit, pedestrians that got hit. The majority of the pedestrians were drunk and not inside a crosswalk.
What do you say to that, Sarah?
Well, that's the majority, but what's the other half that are sober and are at the crosswalk?
Are we literally talking about, 3 people maybe?
It was like 30.
Wait, hold on. You're not talking about people getting hit twice. You're just talking about people getting hit.
Just people getting hit, not necessarily killed, not necessarily, seriously injured.
Yeah.
But just people being hit by a car. The majority, and it was like 57, 60%, the pedestrian was drunk. Sarah always wants to say there was alcohol involved. Yes, it was the pedestrian stumbling in front of a car.
Yeah.
It was like 9 people, she said, over like a handful of years.
No, that was the 2. That was the double.
Run over by 2 cars.
She was saying the 9 people, those people got hit once, then hit again. So that's a much smaller number than people who just get hit once.
Okay.
Right.
All I know is it just sounds so crazy to me, like that we're arguing over a couple of people dying.
I'm not. I mean, there's nothing to argue about here. People they're gonna die, and I think you brought up a similar question. What's the point, Sarah? Are you just trying to raise public awareness that you could get hit by a car if you're a pedestrian? Because I'm pretty sure everybody knows that.
Well, the thing is, why are you excusing yourself about this jaywalking ticket? The person got killed over this.
This is about you.
Oh, wow.
This is about you. Wait a minute. Were you listening to the show tonight, Sarah?
She was on hold for a little bit.
She was on hold. Okay, that's why, because she never listens to the show. So, okay. Why are you jaywalking for? Are you just trying to get killed?
Well, actually, the police. This is because I didn't actually really have much of a choice here. They closed the sidewalk on the other side of the road, so we couldn't get near the filming. We couldn't film near or get near the checkpoint.
We couldn't hear what was going on.
Right. I didn't have a good camera. You actually had a much better camera. Ian was with me, and so I actually jaywalk. Just to be clear about that, I did cross the street, but there is no jaywalking statute in New Hampshire, and
there's not.
There's something. It's not technically called jaywalking.
What do they call it? What's the charge they hit you with for the street crossing?
It was something to the effect of I don't know if it's called crossing the street, but it was something. That's what they wrote on the paperwork. But it's crossing the street,
not at a crosswalk.
No, it wasn't that, because it explicitly says in the legislation that you don't have to cross at a crosswalk. It's only if it's under certain circumstances you have to cross at a crosswalk.
And your argument is you were in the circumstances in which you did not have to cross at the crosswalk.
Yeah.
I see. So, Sarah, are you just you're worried about Chris? Are you worried that if
And there was no cars coming, by the way, guys. It's not like I didn't look both ways.
Right, yeah.
That's what everybody that gets hit by two cars says. There was no car coming.
Well, I don't understand is that, Darryl, how come you're so harsh against people that are jaywalking, and then you excuse yourself for jaywalking?
You said Darryl?
How come you excuse yourself? And Darryl, you're so harsh against people that are jaywalking that get hit by cars.
When have you been harsh?
No, Sarah, saying that, using your statistic, because you're the one that called in about people getting hit by cars, and me pointing out that the majority of people that get hit by cars are drunk and not in a crosswalk. That's not me excusing people getting hit by cars. That's me pointing out that there's dum-dums that get drunk and stumble in front of cars.
Right. Not the driver's fault. If the driver is driving normally down a lane of traffic and some hobo who's drunk, some wino falls into the street,
probably wearing dark clothing at night.
But even if they're wearing bright neon clothing, if they fall into the street at 10 feet in front of you right as you're barreling in the regular direction you were going, you can't stop in time. There's no way you can stop in time. That person's gonna get hit, Sarah, and that's not being harsh. That's just the reality.
Well, Australia, they have to program for the kangaroos. Well, over here, we have to program.
You're talking about the auto car. You're talking about the automated cars now?
Yes. She's now talking about the self-driving cars.
Yeah. When you're changing topics, it's always good to kind of.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not changing topics. When we invite
you kind of are changing topics
a little bit. Listen to me. They have to program.
It doesn't matter. You can put whatever damn programming you want in there. If some wino falls into the street in front of your automated car, it's going to hit that person.
So, Sarah, just very quick, yes or no, do you want to ban automobiles? Yes or no?
No, something...
That's not a yes or no. Just say yes or no. You've got 5 seconds.
Well, we have to have automobiles.
All right. So you don't want to ban cars.
Thank
you.
Thanks
This is Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-957-9489. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-957-9489. That's 1-800-957-9489. 1-800-957-9489.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, dial toll-free and bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
You can join us online anytime you want over at freetalklive.com. And if you support what we do here on Free Talk Live, then you can become an amplifier over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is simple. You send $5 a month into the show. We'll invest that into Free Talk Live, getting on more radio stations around the country, bringing new internet listeners on board, exposing new people to the ideas of freedom. If you appreciate the work we do, then please amp the show over at amp.freetalklive.com for $5 a month. You can do it with any major credit card. You can do it with PayPal. You can do Bitcoin. Whatever works best for you. It helps us out a lot. So please, you get perks too, by the way, like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, AMP-only Facebook group, and more. So head on over to amp.freetalklive.com. All right, so let's finally get into the story here about the Rubik's Cube.
Yes, the Rubik's Cube, which was created by architecture professor Erno Rubik in 1974, has delighted and confounded millions.
Sure has.
Now the company that makes the twisting puzzle wants to stop the maker of Duncan yo-yos from selling an alleged knockoff.
Really?
Story comes from Reuters. Rubik's brand Ltd. sued Duncan Toys and Toys R Us to halt the sale of a puzzle cube, which Duncan calls Quick Cube.
Spelled how?
The way you would spell Quick Cube. Quickcube.
Okay, because, they could have made it Qube or Quik or something.
Yep. Rubik's brand says that it's a copy of the world's best-selling puzzle game. According to the complaint filed on Monday
it sure is.
in U.S. District Court in Manhattan, Duncan's 3x3 cube, quote, mimics the features and overall appearance of the Rubik's Cube, mainly differing in its colors and, quote-unquote, slight rounding of the corners.
Yep, that's true. I'm looking at it here. It's available on Amazon. You can go to shop.freetalklive.com. Get one of these before they're banned. They'll probably go up in value once they get banned.
You could also go to saveatpurse.com and buy one with Bitcoin and save 10, 15, 20%.
Don't you have to have a minimum purchase, though, for small ticket items at saveatpurse.com?
$10.
This is a $5 item.
Okay, so you buy 3 of them and save 15%, and that's more than 10.
That does work.
Rubik's brand, which is based in London, said this amounted to trademark infringement and unfair competition, adding that Toys R Us was liable for selling the Duncan cubes.
By the way, the Rubik's Cube on Amazon is a little pricier at $8 instead of $5.
The Rubik's Cube apparently sells for about $16 at Toys R Us, according to this article. I'll get down into the other pricing in just a bit.
Here's a Sheng Zhao one for $1.82.
According to the complaint, consumers who expect to receive plaintiff's Rubik's Cube puzzle, for which plaintiff has developed a national and international reputation, will be disappointed when using defender's imitation, which causes irreparable harm to the Rubik's brand.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you probably will be disappointed, but when you go out and you buy a knockoff, I'm not quite sure you're going to be surprised about that.
You're still going to wind up saying, hey, I went and bought this Rubik's Cube. It's like, these
Kleenex
tissues right here. Kleenex. Although
that brand is actually Puffs.
Right. This is not a Kleenex brand, but people are just, oh, yeah, hey, can you hand me a Kleenex?
Yep. That's true.
According to the Toys R Us website, Rubik's Cube sells for $15.99. The Duncan Quick Cube sells for $4.99. Duncan spokesman Mike Burke on Tuesday said the allegations are without merit and that the company intends to vigorously defend itself. Toys R Us, however, was not available for immediate comment. The lawsuit seeks to recoup alleged illegal profits and triple damages and destruction of all unauthorized cubes. Duncan, based in Middlefield, Ohio, and its parent, Barbaroo, which is Wisconsin-based Flambeau Incorporated, or rather, Barbaro, Wisconsin, is also named as a defendant. Toys R Us, based in Wayne, New Jersey. Rubik's Cube became a fad in the United States soon after launching in 1980 under a license with Ideal Toy Company, but remained on the market even after demand fell. Roughly 100 million Rubik's Cubes, according to the complaint, have been sold worldwide.
It's an interesting story. On this show, I don't think we have any hosts who are in favor of intellectual property. But that's one of those discussions that libertarians can get heated about, because some libertarians do believe in the idea of intellectual property, which is, of course, the idea that you should have the ability to control the things that another person owns. In this case, the plastic and the stickers that they made this, whatever they call it, the competitor.
Quick Cube.
The Quick Cube. That they made the Quick Cube out of. Essentially, the Rubik's Cube company is saying, well, we did that first, and so therefore you can't mold plastic into this exact shape, and you can't put colored stickers on it, and you can't sell it because, well, we got permission from the government that says we're the only ones who can do that.
Right. And then what's even more ridiculous, and I was having this conversation just a couple of weeks ago about the book 1984. George Orwell has been dead for a long time.
Oh, Amazon.
But 1984 does not enter the public domain for about another, 2 or 3 years.
What is the rule? What's the copyright rule there?
The life of the author plus 70 years in the United States, although there's all kinds of weird rules for things created before 1923. There's another set of rules for things created between 1923 and the early 1960s.
So what, did he die in the 50s?
A third set of rules for things created between like the mid-60s and the early 1970s. And I believe Orwell died early 50s, possibly 49, because 1984 was published in 1948. And it wasn't too long after, just a couple of years after when
died in
he
1950.
passed away.
January of 1950.
Yep.
So you're saying it's 70 years? What was it?
70 years.
70 years
After the death.
Okay, so 3 years. 3 years from now, it'll go into the public domain.
Well, you said January, so it would be January of 2020.
So, this is interesting with the lawsuit. I mean, Rubik's Cube, nobody can deny, has been tremendously successful. As you said, 100 million cubes. have been sold. That's a huge success. I mean,
correct.
If anything's hurting Rubik's Cube, in my opinion, it's news like this. Because news like this makes somebody like me, and I may be unusual about this, but it makes me say I would never want to buy Rubik's Cube because of their anti-freedom, intellectual property beliefs. Right. And it would make me more likely to want to get a Duncan Quick Cube or one of these Shenzhou ones from China. Because you can go ahead and stop Duncan, but you're not going to stop the Chinese manufacturer from cranking those things out.
And there was a story a couple of years ago, and I forget exactly how it wound up being resolved, but the guy that wrote Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger, his estate sued someone because this person wrote an unauthorized sequel using the characters from the book. And they were like, no, you can't do that. We own these characters.
Yep.
So, that's just another example of how ridiculous intellectual property laws are.
Amazon removed from people's devices the book 1984.
The ebook,
had bought it.
right? Because
after they bought it,
you bought this thing that you did not have because this was an unauthorized reproduction of the book. You didn't buy it from the company that has the copyright.
Okay, so was this a trademark they're suing? Was that what they said they were suing over? Trademark?
Talking about the Cube?
Yeah.
The Cube is they're alleging that it's an illegal knockoff. It doesn't say if it's patent. It doesn't say if it's trademark. It doesn't specify. But generally on something like this, they're probably calling patent infringement. Because the phone that I have in my hand has rounded corners. Courts have ruled that Apple owns rectangles with rounded corners.
It's insane. It's just so insane.
Absolutely insane.
We're out of time, though. We can't get any deeper into this, but abolish intellectual property and let people compete in the marketplace based on, real factors, not this nonsense.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 1st, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.56 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,785. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. State Department has admitted in its own statement on the U.S. closing the Russian consulate in San Francisco that the move comes amid a downward spiral in our relationship. This is an unusual admission that relations are both at an all-time low and continuing to worsen at a rapid pace. While the latest hostile U.S. moves come with some lip service about the U.S. hoping to improve relations, this does not seem a sincere expectation. Rather, the State Department's comments seem more interested in trying to shift the blame.